Hello Ratbags, it's Jade Plays Games. Welcome to a very special, different type of video on my channel. It is more or less a podcast. There will be some gameplay footage or footage of people's channels that we're going to be talking with today. I've got special guests, can't wait to show you guys who we're going to be talking about. Ark Survival Evolved, yes, of course, Ark. Now, no, I did say I wasn't going to be covering Ark too much anymore, mainly because I just had a bit of a hissy fit. But this is something I've wanted to do and for a long time now, and so I want to see if we can grow it. Maybe we'll talk to other YouTubers or content creators, streamers, and also maybe even look at other games as well in the future. So this is the Jade Access podcast. We'll come up with a catchier name. Maybe you guys give me a catchier name, pop it in the comment section down below. I've got some fantastic guests today, and what we're going to be doing is talking about Ark Survival Evolved. We're going to be talking about the past. We're going to be talking about how we discovered Ark and what makes us like Ark, our love Ark, and then we're going to be talking about where Ark is at the moment, where we feel it is, and where it could go in the future, what we expect with the last DLC coming in November, and any other future plans Wildcard have. So today I am joined by monkeypuzzle. I'm also joined by bigworm 380 Gaming and Lucky by Nature's Angelic Vixen. You guys have got various amount of views or subs. Some of you guys have got experience with PvE, PvP, communities, PC, Xbox. So we're going to do a little introduction with everyone and then we're going to get straight into it. So I'll start off with monkeypuzzle. Hey
man, thanks for having me on.
No problem, no problem. So monkeypuzzle, you have been doing content a good while now. I remember seeing you posting stuff on the community crunch early days of Ark, and I thought how amazing your builds were. And you've just gone from strength to strength there. You 11,000 subscribers now. That's a fantastic amount. And you run a bunch of servers, don't you, for Ark?
I do, yeah. We have a bunch of servers. I'm part of running a community called Iron Mine that involves both creators and our patrons. And we've been going for quite a long time now. It was actually descended from Drax, who's on Pooping Evolve. This was his private server that he started when Ark first came out. And a bunch of us joined it. We were actually all from different Minecraft communities at the time. And then he got into Pooping Evolved and he went on. And so we took over Iron Mine. Well, we didn't take it over, but we carried it on. And the community has just been growing stronger and stronger. So yeah, we play together, we record together. And it's a PvE community. We have a sort of vanilla-ish cluster, and then right now we also have a everything goes modded server, and we also play a lot of other games together as well.
That's cool. It's cool. So I know you're quite a few content creators actually that I've played with or done stuff with, like Stevie and I think in the past Granny as well. She's good sort of friendly people as well. So it's good. I like it when big communities come together and they can make something.
Yeah, a lot of folks have come through there. Like Alexis Arcade came from there. Like I said, Drax came from there. Arali the Geek, Unite the Clans, and a bunch of other folks that I probably should be thinking of right now, but off the cuff, that's a good start.
That's a good one. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Let's do. Just stop that one. And then we've got Bigworm 380 Gaming, good friend of mine. Me and Bigworm discovered each other covering the same stuff. You were doing Ark news as well, or you was doing Ark tutorials, I think, Bigworm.
Yeah, mainly tutorials is what I was doing. Let's plays and then tutorials on different specific things.
Yeah. Now, you're on the cusp of trying to get your channel up and you're doing stuff, but you're also guest presenting for me. So if you don't recognise, or you should recognise Bigworm, usually at the weekends he does one of my access shows for me. He uploads a video talking about gaming, some of the stuff I haven't had time to cover or stuff that interests him more. So we're going to carry on doing that. That's been going pretty well.
Oh yeah, I've been enjoying that. It's different stuff. I like the news videos, and it's a different kind of video than what I'm used to doing, but
yeah,
I'm really.
What have you got going on your channel at the moment then?
My channel, we are currently in Scorched Earth on your Ark Chronicle server. Leading up to Extinction DLC. So we already did the island. We've moved to Scorched Earth, and we'll be doing Aberration next, and all the story lore maps, and then got that going on, and just a bunch of different games, a bunch of new games I've been trying out lately. So.
Yeah, absolutely. Variety is the spice of life. Yeah, and you've been playing Ark a long time as well. When did you first discover Ark?
I discovered Ark a long time ago watching Vanos Gaming, and right when it came out in early access on Steam, I saw a video of them playing it, which that's not their game, what they're known for, but it was hilarious watching them play, but I saw how cool the world was, and you know, I thought, man, that's a neat game. Well, I didn't have a PC at the time that could run it, so I had to wait till that following December when it came out on Xbox. And as soon as it came out, I got it, and I've pretty much been playing it since.
Cool.
No, I'm not counting on eating it.
Sorry, guys. And then lastly, we're lucky enough to be joined. Did you get it? Lucky enough by Lucky by Nature.
I see what you did there.
Yeah, you like that one. Angelic Vixen, one half, the better half, I'm going to say. I don't care what B says. Of Lucky by Nature. How's it going?
It's going really well.
Yeah, and so obviously you've just hit 28,000 subscribers.
Yep.
You're doing fantastic. You guys have shot up loads, and you do a big mix of content. And how did you get started on Ark, or what was the interest in Ark for you?
Actually, with Ark, me and Beast were trying to find a game that we could play together, and my stepson actually recommended it to us when it first came out on Xbox, because at the time that's what we were playing. All the games were on Xbox, and it just kind of developed into, you know, this whole endeavor, and we, you know, we're striving. We went from PvE to PvP, and from there we went from official to dedicated, and it just has evolved into this magnificent experience, because overall, I mean, Ark is an incredible game.
The new servers are just around the
Absolutely.
corner.
And I guess, is it cool, like, doing it with your husbands, like, working and living with each other? Do you get really sick of each other, just, like, gaming and living with each other? I always find that, like, it's probably my fantasy to find a gamer girl to marry, but I haven't come across that yet.
Yeah, sounds good to me.
Yeah.
It's great, because then, you know, he's not complaining about my game time, and I'm not complaining about his game time, and it's kind of a mutual, like, we know we're going to be on the game for several hours, and we're spending time together. So, you know, it's not that conflict that other people have told me about that they experience with their spouse going, why are you still playing? You need to spend time with me.
Absolutely. That resulted in my divorce recently. No, right. So there we go. Great, fantastic start. And I did try and pick people that I thought could give a broad view of Ark, so it weren't just going to be me moaning about certain things or being a bit negative. It'd be good to have a good mix of PC and Xbox and PS4 and different communities, PvP, PvE. Hopefully in the future you guys got any recommendations, hit me up with who I should be talking to who are really passionate about Ark still, and maybe we can get them involved. Like I said, hopefully it's not an ongoing thing. If not, we'll see how it goes. So for the rest of it, you guys could probably put me on in the background. There'll only be some stock footage of me, just video content from what I've done in the past, and we'll just hopefully getting more importance on what we're going to be talking about. So Ark has sold 12 million copies. The last count they officially released about 9 months ago. 6 million of them copies are on PC, and about 4 million are PS4, and about 2 million Xbox. Which is surprising. PS4 ended up overtaking Ark, I do believe, in sales figures because of just the huge hype surrounding it. And that's what made my channel. So if you don't know who I am and you just clicked on this video for the first time, I'm Jade Plays Games. I cover lots of games, always have done, but Ark kind of blew up my channel. And I've worked pretty solidly trying to achieve that for the, you know, covering stuff. I started off covering news on Ark on Xbox only, and then I moved to PS4, and that blew up my channel. And then since then, it's just been a case of keeping up to date with what's going on in Ark and trying to be a reasonable voice in the community for good stuff and criticism as well. So yeah, that's where we are at the moment. 12 million sales for Ark Survival Evolved. It's on every platform going. It's going to be coming to the Nintendo Switch at some point this year, possibly maybe early 2019. And obviously it's on mobile now, which is crazy to think that a game looking like Ark, but it runs pretty well on mobile. Have any of you guys played it on mobile?
No, I have a beastly PC and it still struggles.
I haven't tried it on mobile either. I mean, but I've seen video of it, and to be honest, I'm surprised. I mean, it seems like it runs relatively good.
Yeah, I haven't tried it either, but I kind of expected it to be a little bit more difficult to play on a phone. But from what I've seen in videos as well, I mean, it runs actually really well.
Yeah, it is. It's a weird one. I think the Unreal Engine must just have different components that it just runs well with smaller devices or ways that they've found easy savings, I guess. Obviously, it doesn't look as good as PC version, but certainly it's booming. Ark has booming. It changed, for me, it revolutionized what early access meant. because until early access, until Ark came out, early access was just something for PC. And if you was an Xbox or PS4 fan and you could only afford that console, you could only have that console, the idea of playing a game that you'd get a chance to help grow or shape with feedback, it was unheard of. And then Xbox brought out the game preview program, and Ark joined it, I think about 9 months later, maybe. And really, it opened my eyes to how game development goes and how games are made, and it's fantastic. And Ark have done so many different things. Wildcard, the studio behind Ark, have implemented so many unique features that lots of gaming companies, in my eyes, have gone on to copy and emulate for good and bad. You know, there were definitely much more positives with Wildcard and what they've done, and obviously with 12 million sales of the game and so many people playing the game still today. It's still in the top 20 on Steam charts at the moment, averaging around 40,000 people on officials, and it's at various points been like top 5, you know, game played on Steam. So huge amount of love that's come for Ark and come from Ark. I guess it's obviously launched on all them platforms, and we've got the last DLC coming. Where are we at with Ark now, or where are you guys at with it, whether it's with your channel, whether it's playing, or how do you feel about Ark at the moment? I guess we'll start with you, monkeypuzzle.
Sure. Well, I particularly am not watching the clock until Extinction drops. When it drops and it's good, I'll be happy for it. I'll definitely appreciate, you know, the interest at that time, and it's always exciting and when a new thing drops for Ark or any game really. And so that will be fun. But one of the things I've learned with Wildcard is to manage my expectations. Like, if you expect something to happen at a certain time, you're going to be disappointed. It's just, you know, there's this thing called Wildcard time. So I'm good with that. I'm not going to, like, you know, expect it to happen when they said. If it does, that's great. If it doesn't, I won't be disappointed, because the way that I and the people I play with, the way we play Ark is basically as a big, giant creative sandbox. So we don't necessarily need new content in order to maintain our interest. That we kind of make our own goals. We do our own thing. Like today, we did the Olympus Olympics on the Olympus modded map. A bunch of my server mates made this wonderful like competition course with all these different games on it, and we went on. I live streamed earlier for about 3 hours. Go check it out. And some really creative games we made, like jumping from skybox, trying to hit a target on the ground, or a big arena with a bear in it where you try to go fight it barehanded, or a race course where we had Equus running around, or a tank full of electric eels and you had to run through it and get to the other side. And there was a ton of things. We were on zip lines with gigantos and racing mantas and trying to find notes with points and archery and blah, blah, blah. It was a bunch of really cool creative stuff, and that's just stuff we made up, right? So
that's pretty cool.
We can go on for a long time just, you know, with our own creativity. You know, new dinos and new maps and all that is very exciting, but, you know, it's not really the thing. Like, there's a lot of content in Ark I haven't even gotten to because I don't really necessarily need to do all the boss fights. I don't necessarily need to tame every single creature. It's more like a place just to play and to have a world that we're immersed in and that we can have fun with each other and our community, play with other people or ourselves, and just make stuff up. And, you know, obviously one of the things I like doing a lot is building, and I don't need the new DLC to drop to do more building. There are things I'd like Ark to address about the building system, and we can get onto that kind of stuff later. I'm sure that's going to fit into one of the questions, what we think Ark should do next. But yeah, so that's where we're at right now. I've played it almost 4,000 hours at this point, so I do need breaks. I am trying to experiment putting some other stuff on my channel, and it's never good to have your channel depend on one game, because one game never lasts forever unless it's just something epic that just keeps going on and on and on, or has a huge community around it. So, you know, I definitely am looking for what the next sandbox is going to be and looking at other games. And it's tough, though. You know how it is when you have your channel based on one thing and then you start branching out. You possibly get negative reactions and losing subs and losing views and so on. But, you know, you got to do what you got to do. And my channel has always not been about maximum views. I have a real career in real life. It's more that I like the game and I like to share my gaming. So I'm going to keep gaming and I'm going to keep sharing it.
That's cool, man. And obviously, yeah, you're really creative. I remember seeing some of your builds and, you know, the thought that went into some of it. And I know for a lot of your stuff, you've always tried not to overdo it with mods.
We try not to. Well, when we overdo it, we really overdo it.
Yeah.
But we try to play in what we call vanilla with sprinkles, where we try to solve some of our issues with Ark by just adding some quality of life mods to give it a little bit more content and to fix some things like Structures Plus to fix the building system a little bit. You know, add some decor mods to give us some more stuff to play with to make it more immersive. Adjust the rates slightly, but not so much that it feels cheaty, but not so it's like as grindy and life stealing as official can be, and so on.
Yeah, I think that's pretty much a very good first point, though. Like, you're playing on the Olympus map there now, and as a PC gamer primarily, I guess you don't really play on Xbox or PS4.
I actually don't own a console. Yeah.
No, right? Yeah, fair dues. So I guess the rest of us have all come from consoles first. Like, Angelic, did you ever play on PC, or was it just only console at the beginning?
In the beginning, it was just console, and now we play both. But we actually have all three. We got the PS4 as well, especially when Wildcard was having issues, you know, getting updates to the PS4. We were trying to play PS4 more to kind of experience what they were going through, so we had a better understanding, you know, for the subs of what they were actually dealing with at the time.
Yeah, absolutely. And I guess that's the part of it, like for console, not having more sandbox features to play with is one of the biggest problems where I am at the moment with Ark. Bigworm, what about you? Where are you at with that Ark? Obviously, you said earlier you're enjoying playing it again and you've had a little break. Why did you have to have a little break?
Well, like I said, when it came out on Xbox Preview, I jumped right on it, and that's when I started my YouTube channel. And that was my first year at least solid just Ark content, you know. And I think I've got around 4,000 hours on Xbox and another 2,000 on PC, you know, because I got it on PC as well. And like I said, I had a 3 server cluster on PC, and we did mods, and you know, because I wanted to see all that stuff too, and you know, just see everything the game had to offer. And
what was it like when you jumped from console to PC? Like, how much did you enjoy the variety in the mods and the look of the game?
Well, being Ark, I think, was the first PC game that I got, because when I built my PC for YouTube, you know, just to make videos on, because I started off with this crappy laptop and just wasn't working. And so I built the PC I have for YouTube, and I'm thinking, well, this thing can run games. So I went ahead and got Ark, and man, it just how much smoother it is, the frame rate, you know, just graphically better. I mean, it's like most PC games compared to a console game. It's graphically superior, runs a little better. But, you know, the problem I ran into with the PC version is we started experimenting with mods, and we got really crazy with them. I mean, and it was
too much.
Yeah, it's so easy to get out of hand with the mods. And then I was literally, by the time we stopped playing on my PC cluster, I was ready to go back to console. Not that we couldn't play without mods on PC, but you know, it was just you were forced to play regular vanilla. You know, outside of changing a few settings here or there. And I was actually excited to go back to it, like getting back to basics.
I think Monkey said it earlier about vanilla with sprinkles. I've heard that term phrased a lot in the last couple of weeks, actually, from subscribers telling me that lots of big Ark tubers are going back to stripping it down, not having all these crazy bombastic mods and stuff. What about you, Angelic Vixen? How are you feeling with Ark at the moment, really? And what's, you know, your experience with playing it on PC and playing it on console?
Well, I mean, for us, we actually went through something very similar. We went from Xbox to PC, and then we were so happy to go back to Xbox because we were just really tired of, you can't help but want mods when you're on PC. You're just like, oh, I definitely want Structures Plus just because of the building, you know, components to that. And I mean, that was always really challenging. And we actually currently do have 2 dedicated servers on Xbox, and we're calling it The Journey to Extinction, in hopes that Extinction actually comes out on time. But either way, it's the journey. So no matter how long it takes, it kind of just, those servers are going to, you know, stay going until Extinction comes out. So, you know, that is something that we really enjoy. And on Xbox, I mean, you have to get really creative with the vanilla version of the game. Like we do, you know, events. And so with the events on Xbox, I mean, yeah, it gets really interesting how clever you can get with some of the vanilla building components. As far as Ark overall, I mean, I still love this game. It's really hard having a YouTube channel that's focused on one game and one game only, because as it was mentioned before, the second you try to introduce a different game, even if it's just like a first impressions, people freak out and they're just like, no, go back to Ark. And it's just really hard because you do solely depend on one game to keep flourishing for yourself and for the community. And so that's been kind of hard, because we did introduce, like I did like a first impressions for Conan, and people had a heart attack. They're like, wait, what are you doing? No. I mean, they were like losing their mind in the comments.
You're leaving us.
Exactly. And then I just recently tried Scum, because, you know, I was talking to Jade about this on Twitter, and he was like, you know, this is coming. And I tried it. And again, people were messaging me and they were like, wait, what are you doing? No.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh my goodness. But with our channel, we focused a lot on like testing and tutorials, and I would throw in, you know, news from time to time. But
yeah, you've got some great guides, like you know. So I obviously, like I said, I found you guys because it was some sort of drama going on originally, and since then though, you've gone strength to strength, making lots of guides and tutorials, and been really focused on being sort of professional in what content you deliver to your fans.
Yeah, we tried to focus a lot on like the positive stuff. Like everybody, I mean, there's so many people doing like PvP battles that it's kind of oversaturated. So we were like, no, let's take a step back and try to give, like, you know, we do pro tips, and every time something new comes out, we kind of like try to show like the GFI codes and things like that. We're just trying to focus on that, but with nothing really new coming out from Wildcard, that makes it really kind of challenging.
I guess that goes sort of circle to what monkeypuzzle's saying. Like he feels he's got lots of content to play with already, even not going too crazy with mods, but just a few quality life improvements. But I think that really is the half the story. You know, if you're a fan of Ark, if you're on PC, it's fantastic. And I'm going to bring up my little rant video I pulled up, done last week.
It was a really good video. I watched it.
With the most clickbait title ever. Where's it gone? I can't even find it. You know what? It's got that bad with Ark, and I'm honest. See, my subs know how I feel about. Well, I hope they know how I feel about Ark, but I haven't even got it as a main playlist anymore on my channel. That's sad.
Is that one of those Ark is dead videos? Or?
Yeah, pretty much. It's getting to that point.
Yeah,
like, I feel it every time I say that. Something else happens, and I think, oh, Ark's turned a corner.
Yeah.
And then something else happens. It pisses me off. I don't know where it is. I want to just show the video title mainly. I'm not going to show the actual video. Where is it gone? Yeah, there we go. Ark is only good if you play on a PC. And I guess that's one of my main points, and why I was happy to get monkeypuzzle and you guys who have played it on PC as well, is it really does feel like Ark really is only good if you're playing on PC at the moment, because there is just no new content. And that's my biggest problem.
You got to have a sense of perspective too. Like if you play a game for hundreds of hours and then you get tired of it, it doesn't mean the game wasn't good. It's not good enough to keep you going for another 1,000 hours. But you know, I think that's important for folks to keep in perspective. I mean, most of the console players that are bitter that there's no new content have a lot of time in, so it doesn't mean it wasn't good. The fact that it was good means you want more, but this is not coming fast enough, you know.
Maybe. I feel like overall though, like when you take into account all the way development has gone for Ark overall, and I'm not silly enough to suggest it shouldn't be any other way. Ark has always been a PC focused game first, but as I point out in my video, you know, by the time you get to 12 million sales, and you know half them sales have come from console, I feel like there should be definitely more thought put into what everyone gets, not just what half your fan base gets.
I agree.
And that's
with
my
you.
biggest problem with wildcards. You know, they really just, the delays, and you're right, monkeypuzzle, the hype. You should never believe a date that wildcard are going to give you, because it's I can't remember the last time they got something right and it was on time. It's what's helped my channel. The amount of videos I've done that, oh my god, the update's delayed, oh my god, the update's been cancelled, oh my god, it's another update, another delayed, they will, you know, whatever it is. And it's been frustrating, because for me personally, I have never been hugely into playing Ark, grinding away. You guys are going on about your 4,000 hours, your 2,000 hours. I'm lucky if I've got about 300 hours across the whole of it. You know,
Wow.
I've done Let's Plays, I've done series, I've done on Xbox, I've done PS4. But for me, Ark has always been, I love Ark playing it with people. I love playing, like you do with your server, monkeypuzzle, you know, getting a chance to do fun events with subscribers and fans or friends. That's what the kind of interaction I like in Ark. I'm not a big fan of taming. I'm not a big fan of PvP. Oh, well, I do like PvP, but I'm just rubbish at it at Ark. And that's the kind of content I've always looked for. That's why I started up Dino Wars back in the day on the Xbox originally, to get subscribers involved. It's always just been about getting subscribers involved in what I do as much as possible. And that transformed to patrons or whatever it was, or back again, so servers are open. So I've got servers running for patrons and people that are just quite loyal in Discord and stuff like that. But it dries quickly, you know, in terms of, I think as well, Xbox and PS4, the console crowds have very different expectations from PC. You know, when you haven't got the ability to go and mod a game, add new content to it, you're going to get bored of that game quicker. And that's for every console game. That's not just Ark, so it's not just Wildcard's fault. But I feel with the money that Wildcard have made, and it's my biggest criticism, they just don't put enough thought into how the overall package is. You know, everything's geared towards PC and modding communities, but forgetting about the 6 million people that play the game on Xbox and PS4. And I think they've definitely got the capacity to do it. They've shown they're fantastic. They're one of the first companies to bring modding to consoles properly, you know, even before Skyrim came out. Fallout had just started their mods, I do believe, but in terms of bringing some sort of way you could add something to your vanilla game, having a center map, having Primitive Plus was fantastic for console. That really just made my day. Being able to try something that at the face of it seemed like it was something like a mod. Of course, realise now it's not going to be that case. We're never going to have the mod support that PC has, and it doesn't necessarily need it. But for me, what Wildcard do need is a proper roadmap, and they definitely need more content because of the nature of consoles where it's younger crowds. There are younger players that play it, and so they've got short attention spans. Don't kill me, any younger players out there saying that you're short, you don't like it, right? That they know, you know, and there is a lot more games as well on both systems, but it just seems that there's, you know, we still haven't really got enough content on console, and that's not just my opinion. That's based mainly on the comments. I do feel like I'm a moth. I attract quite a lot of constructive criticism, and I guess it's what you put out. You know, if I'm doing videos criticising games, I'm probably going to get them type of people wanting to watch my videos who are also feeling not very happy with a game or a developer or etc.
The truth is, though, at the state of the engine that Ark is built on, you can barely handle mods on a PC, right? Your frame rate starts to dip really quickly. So, and, you know, this may be fighting words, but consoles are just not as powerful as a PC. So I think that consoles really couldn't handle stacks of mods like a PC barely handles. And also, to be fair, I just want to add in that the grass is always greener on the other side, because PC players like myself, we have a whole list of things that we feel ignored on that we wish they'd addressed a long time ago. You know, things we've been dealing with that we're like, you know, why are you giving us new content when we want you to fix some of the old content first? You know, but they have a trajectory they're on, you know, and when we get to the future of Ark part, you know, my idea is that I want them to start from Ark 2 from coding from the ground up again. You know,
I agree.
It's still called shooter game if you look into the folders of Ark files. And that's because they bought a certain amount of content from the Unreal Engine and they started messing with it. And that's what it was called there. That was like a base model game as a jumping point. But they did so much so quickly that they never even changed the name of the base folder that they got it from. And so there's some rough, quick, sloppy coding. I'm not a coder, I don't know, but it seems like to really take it further and to address console players' needs and the PC players' needs, they need to start back from the beginning because they're on shaky ground. You know, their engine can barely handle what it's doing right now.
But that's the thing, that's not pretty new, really, is it? I mean, we've had them issues all throughout early access, and I guess the holy grail is of when games leave early access, you expect them to run better and look better and do all the things that were kind of promised during that period. And then Wildcard aren't the only one. We're seeing with PUBG. I was streaming that tonight, and it's just come out of early access on Xbox, so 9 months after PC, and it is awful. It is not in the graphics aren't great. There's lots of potato looking graphics. Even on an Xbox X, the map just looks not that great. So they're not the only guilty party, but Wildcard certainly have faced lots of calls over the last 3 years to improve the look of the game, or not improve the looks how it runs, you know. And I guess that opens up the next question. We can talk about the future. What do you want them to do most, everyone? Like, what would you want them? Number one thing you think Ark needs to maybe not improve drastically. Maybe you're happy with Ark, but maybe if you're not, what is the biggest thing you want them to improve right now?
I'll throw something in on this one. And it kind of ties into the last thing that like monkeypuzzle was saying about, you know, that consoles just aren't as powerful as PCs, you know, and that's obvious, you know. I don't think any console player, PC or Xbox, that halfway looks into the way any of this works, I don't think they're really expecting like the maps so much. But what I'd like them to do is at least come through on some of the broken promises as far as quality of life stuff, like bringing some of S Plus, if not all of it, to console, and maybe some decoration mods at least for people that like that. I mean, I don't think those particular type of mods would be that taxing, or they could do it in a way that it should be able to work, I would think, on console.
I've had a bit of a run-in with Dragonpunk. Dan, you know, I've broke Dragonpunk coming to Ark. I was one of the first people to do a news story on it before it was even announced. And since then, they've got a fantastic group of models. I mean, I love that's one thing I would say. The modding system that Wildcard have put in place is fantastic. No other company has really gone at such lengths to promote people making content for their game, because Wildcard realised that modding can extend the life of their game exponentially and make it really go much longer. And so giving bursaries to people, giving them money to support them and create these fantastic mods that may eventually get transformed into something that could benefit Ark. We've already seen from Atlas, which I won't go into here, that'll be probably another topic, but some of the stuff that's in Atlas is definitely come from some of the modders that have done work like Survival Plus and stuff like that in the last few months. Yeah. But with the big conversation with Dan from Dragonpunk on Twitter a good while ago now, he's admitted that you wouldn't be able to get that collection of mods. And I don't think console needs that collection of mods. I think you're right, Bigworm. It is, what could you put on Ark that is very low RAM, that doesn't require that much effort, and something like Echo mods would absolutely be amazing on console.
Absolutely.
And it would definitely go towards balancing the need for console fans to feel not left out and feel like they've got more to do and have a sandbox environment, because you know, even just having Structures Plus on PC opens up Ark 10 times more than it does on console. You know, you guys have made some videos on that, haven't you, Vixen, on the Structures Plus on PC and stuff. How did that feel playing around with that and trying it out?
I mean, I love Structures Plus. I think that it fixes not everything wrong with the building system in, you know, the vanilla version, but there's just a lot of components to it that could be added to, you know, the regular part of the game that would benefit the entire community. And that's what I actually did a video about, when they promised us that some of the stuff, not all of the stuff, because I can see how some of the stuff in Structures Plus would just be really bad for, you know, regular Ark. But they promised it was coming, and then all of a sudden they just dropped the bomb of, well, it's not coming after all. And that's the one thing about Wildcard that truly drives me crazy. It's kind of like promising a child that you're going to go and do something, and then the day that it, you know, comes, all of a sudden you're too tired to go and you can't go, and then you disappoint the child and you keep doing it over and over. And pretty much everybody feels the same way. We cannot trust what they say. You know, time frames, they've always been neglected. I mean, even just starting a stream, they never show up on time. It's just kind of comical at this point. But I think that for console, they should be getting something new. And there are very small things that they could add to the game to make it more interesting. There's been just too much of a, time gap between Ragnarok coming out and now Extinction coming out, where there's just nothing really new and fresh. And these archaeology events really just aren't going to captivate people and keep them interested. And it's just kind of unfortunate because, everybody was really excited about the tech dinos until they brought out the tech raptor and they were just like, really? That's what we got this month?
Yeah, it's the reskins.
Exactly.
When you think Ark isn't for me a standalone game, it isn't just an experience, an online game. It is a online service. If you run servers where you've got thousands of servers running across different devices, you've got such a big healthy player base. You can't just sit there and say, well, that's it, we're done. You've got the tools. Go. It is like any other game nowadays that has online functionality. You've got to provide something. We've seen it even single player games like Hitman offering monthly content, and lots of other games seem to do that a lot better in terms of giving people free stuff to play with, or whether it's events. Now it's funny, Wildcard started off like that during early access with the seasonal events and stuff, and that's kind of what pissed me off last time as well, that it just feels like a lot is made about DLC and we don't get enough free stuff, and people go, well, how much value do you want from a game? You pay $50 for it, you've played it for 2.5 years, it's give you lots of moments, what more do you want? But I think for a live service where they want people to keep playing their game to make it more bigger, you do need content. You do need fresh content regularly. And we just don't have that on console. Out of everything, I want them just to have a roadmap. I just want to know what they're up to. I'd like, a lot of developers are doing it, and it's more prevalent now using Trello boards. Subnautica have just announced their brand new one for their new DLC. You've got Conan Exiles, which has had various different points where they've published roadmaps of what to expect in the next few months. And we've had silence from Wildcard. Do you guys think that's a bit weird? We've heard nothing from them since Aberration released.
Yeah, it's been so quiet. It really has. It has changed completely than how they used to be. They used to really communicate with the community, and they don't do that anymore. They really are very quiet, and that was actually a harsh reality check because I thought they were very proactive for a really long time, and then it just stopped. Like there was no real reason. And they don't share anything. They don't really, talk to people anymore, and it's all about mods. If you really look at the community crunch, that's where they focus a lot of their energy is on the mods, and that's just not good enough when you have a game that goes across platforms, at least in my opinion.
Yeah, Ark is an amazing game, and Wildcard's done a great job with it. But the one thing I think they really need is a really good PR person, because I feel like with the content they've done, everything could be fine if the communication was better. And my take on why they're not communicating is because when they did try to communicate more openly, it kind of bit them in the butt. They said certain things, and the crunch. Jeremy used to be like, "Oh yeah, I'll add that next week." And then it wouldn't be there next week.
Yes.
And so I think that they have been told to be more quiet and just release things when they actually come out, right? Which, the problem is that they were so bad at managing expectations that then now they're trying not to give any at all. But it could be managed a lot better, and make people a lot happier with just a better kind of communication. And I think that's what they need help with. They're great at the gaming, at the coding and whatever, and I'm sure they're putting a ton of love into Extinction, and when it comes out, it's going to be amazing. But a lot of people don't have the patience to wait for that, and they want something else in the meantime. And, it's tough with the consoles, because I kind of think that either they shouldn't have released the consoles at all if they can't fully provide for that community, but there was a lot of money to be made there. Or, console folks should put it aside for now and go, like, instead of just being mad at it, just be like, okay, fine, let's go play something else until your new content comes out, rather than being unhappy in the meantime.
But I think that's another point. There's so many points. But when you're a console fan and you look at all your favourite content creators, Slipgator, whoever, JX23, By the way, none of them are my favourite content creators. But yeah, when you watch these guys and, you know, you see them playing with mods or you see them having good times, it just makes you want that more and more, and then you want to play with it. So, I don't know, maybe some of them content creators have recognised that a lot of their fan base does come from console. Maybe that's why they're reducing the mods. Or like you guys, where you had the access to the mods and you never really got into it. I really have only ever loaded up mods to look at maps because I love looking at maps. It's something back from Minecraft days.
I can't play it without mods at this point, to tell you the truth. You know,
yeah.
At least if you're not going to fix your snap points for building, at least let me pick them up if they place wrong. You
exactly.
Know, definitely. Let me do that, right? So that's the whole reason that I have to have Structures Plus. I don't need the nanny. I don't need the hatchery. I don't really. I mean, I like that stuff, but I don't need it. I just want to be able to pick the pieces up. You know,
I agree with you.
Or else fix your snap points, one or the other. And I also think it comes down to certain things like the PvE versus PvP divide. Like maybe there's a reason they don't want players to pick pieces up because it can somehow be exploited in PvE. I mean, excuse me, PvP.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know,
I mean,
and I think if they had the game work differently for those two game modes, they could do a lot more. But it's often limited by things that could be exploited in PvP that would be just fine in PvE. So
they're not limited really just by them either. I think it is down to the engine. Like Conan Exiles does get a lot of love for its building, but actually when you really strip it down, Conan Exiles has just created a few extra snap points, and the way that they've got more features for building in terms of cosmetic items, but the core building aspect is very similar to Ark. It is exactly the same system, and as far as I'm aware, the system Ark uses is some $25 Unreal bought asset that of course they've modded over time and they've modified and they've changed it, but it doesn't take away the core fact it was a $25 asset. I've found the mod in the past.
It needs TLC badly.
Definitely.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, and that's, I guess, so we've encapsulated what we all think Ark needs right now in terms of either some extra content for consoles, in terms of some sort of smaller mod. It doesn't have to be access to every mod, but some sort of mod ported over, because that's what it is. It is ported. It's never really just the mod itself. Or we also need fixes, and we need content for, like, you know, making sure that the base game has got decent, robust features in it. Especially in like quiet times, building really does take on another aspect. It does fill up a lot of people. Like I'm looking at Aaron Longstaff here, who,
or him, or Captain Fat Dog.
Yeah, exactly. They've done some great stuff with building, and you know they're still flying high in terms of views and stuff, because building always lasts longer. You know, same with Minecraft back in the day.
And they're building in vanilla on console. You know. So. Yeah, it's true. It's definitely there. It's what you put into it. Well, we've spoken about the problems with the sort of development, and I will just quickly touch on with that. I mean, this is my Ark Dev Tracker. I've used this for the last sort of 9 months. This is how I get most of my news for Ark. Like, there's no secret to it. It's created by someone. I look this up. I then go and check the forums. So I will regularly go, because it doesn't always list every single thing, but there is no contact from any devs anymore. It's literally like someone put a full stop to them. So maybe that was the PR people. Maybe they said, look guys, you guys have been over promising for too long. You guys need to cut that shit out. You know, there's no more. And I was trying to find the post earlier where Jade put a post saying they've stopping the hype because they don't want, or they've made promises before and they don't want it to get to a point anymore where they realise, you know, there's no point. And I've been arguing, that was probably one of my first videos and first interactions with Jade, actually, in Twitter messages and stuff, talking about unhappy I am with the way they hype stuff up and then don't deliver. And time again, I've done it with S2EF, SOTF, and Primal Survival. And can you imagine now if they drop Primal Survival on console and PC? It would drive numbers up beyond measure, and Ark would be outstripping any game you could think of still if they could drop a mod like that. And none of this we're saying just because of our benefit. It would help the company. It'd make them even more millions of money, because there'd be more people picking up the game,
more people more interested in picking up the DLC because they've given us something free now, or given us something to work on now. The numbers are dropping for Ark. I've seen it on my views. Obviously, not just down to the way I do content, but overall, people I know and the YouTubers' content I take a look at, views for Ark are down across the board. And that goes hand in hand with the player base going down. And PC has started to see a dip. From 50,000 regular every day, it's gone down to about 35,000 a day now. That's not terrible numbers. It's still, like I said, top 20. But Ark does need to do something. So maybe they've changed. They've decided no more hype, but they've gone the other way. They've gone completely shut out and not given us any information. Don't have a development board telling us when to expect some stuff. We get told very last minute, like recently with the Structures Plus, that we're not going to receive that till after the next DLC. And even the DLC was meant to come out in spring. That's what was listed on their Steam page. That's what was listed in the Season Pass when you bought it. The third DLC would be coming out spring 2019. That gets delayed till November. So a lot of this stuff I feel like they could avoid if they just spoke to us. Not everything, but give us a heads up about why or what's happening. People will understand when there are problems with a game if you talk to them, if you really are conducive and you let them know.
You can be like Cyberpunk, where you show them, hey, this amazing thing is coming out, but we're not going to tell you when.
Yeah,
until we actually have it.
Yeah, just let the community know that something's coming. They're working on something, but don't overpromise and underdeliver. Don't even give a date. Because stuff happens.
Yeah, do you think that's what happened with Atlas? Is that what that was meant to be? Do you think that was something that actually came out on purpose? Or
I'm just ignoring Atlas and pretending it didn't happen.
Yeah.
Because I don't want that to happen with the current engine. I don't know what that was about, but don't give me pirates until you fix the base game, please.
It's good. I totally agree as well. Like, I think they need to take it back. The idea of implementing the season pass for 2 or 3 brand new maps for 2019 fills me with dread. I really would think they would be able to do such a good job if they stripped it back, went back to code, implemented systems from the ground up, rather than relying just solely on
I would wait years for that. That's fine. Take 2 years. Just do it, and I'll be here when you get back. That would be fine with me.
I'll tell you what we probably should discuss. So, I've been critical and we've been a bit critical of Ark. What do you think you really do different then to keep your communities going? What do you think's making your community of YouTubers and content creators and patrons and people that just love Ark? How do you work on that daily? What do you do to keep it fresh, monkeypuzzle?
Well, my channel, I think, really caters to a niche community of Ark. And so it's one of the reasons my channel doesn't get huge, but it's also one of the reasons it stays stable with what I'm doing and I get lots of interaction and, a strong community is that I'm catering to people who play pretty much like I do or want to play like, I do, where it's really doing the sandbox thing well. Like, there's a lot of sandbox games, but I'd say there's a much smaller percentage of true sandbox players than there are people playing sandbox games. And then I'm also, catering to a certain kind of, creativity people want to have in the game. And, that's only limited by you and your imagination. So you can keep going with that as long as, the game suits you for that, until the game that helps you do that better is there. It's kind of this virtual world, an extension of yourself. And then also, just by creating community, by engaging people, by answering all the comments, by having the Discord that people can join and be part of it and just have a real friendly, open discussion. I think I also attract a lot more mature players. I am a mature person myself. I'm 50 years old. I'm not your basic teenage or early 20s gamer. So a lot of my community turns out to be older folks who have more long time play in them, are more patient, are able to, entertain themselves with something longer. So, those are all the things that I think, and I'm sure there's more if I think of it, but that are specific to my channel and how I do it.
I would say with content wise, you're just talking about you're building it particularly because that's how you like doing it and you play it. But I've always wanted to showcase lots of games, and I've always had it in my idea that, you know, I've got a big ego. I like to get my face out there, and, you know, I want to keep growing and get bigger, and that is definitely one of my goals. So taking a decision to not do as much content on the game that got you somewhere, or picked you up and got you places, is really tough. It's really hard to switch content, and I gave the same advice to lots of people when they're trying to switch content, is you've got to treat it how you got big. You know, if Ark made you big, what did you do with Ark? Put all that effort into the whatever new game's coming out, you know, and you will reap the rewards. It's just going to take time. Just, you know, just because you've got 67,000 subs doesn't stop you from only getting 600 views on a video. You know, it's all about what content and understanding what your subs on. For me, my subs, like I said, I've got a big contingent of people that love to be critical of Ark because they feel unhappy and they've been unhappy like me. But I've also got a lot of people that love Ark, really hardcore fans that are desperate for me to get out of the funk I am with Ark and discover a love for it again. But I don't think that's going to happen until Extinction comes out, because I do need new content. I am 36, but I definitely need a little bit more fresh stuff to keep me interested in stuff. I'm not content just to play one game. And so Extinction coming out is my next best bet for getting back into Ark, and I want to, because, you know, I love the community. I've made so many friends through Ark, and I think that's one of the best things about Ark, has brought me friends and community and people that enjoy, you know, playing games together and doing stuff together. Maybe don't do it as much as the monkeypuzzle, you know, network of servers and stuff, but certainly that's what is my best feature. I guess that's a good question to add before we just think of finally about the future of Ark. What is the best feature about Ark for you guys? Bigworm, what's the best thing for you?
The best thing that I'm looking forward to in Ark?
Yeah, or just right now, you know, what has been the best feature?
Well, leading up to this point, I think it's like you just said. I mean, you get on these rented servers, or, you know, I've rented servers. I've been playing on your servers. You meet all these people, you know, and pretty much everybody is from your Discord, and we all know each other. You build up that community, and you get to know people, like, more than you would playing Call of Duty or something like that, where nobody even talks.
Yeah.
You know, you get to work with people, know their personalities. You even, just like a family, you even get angry with each other sometimes. You know, people get on each other's nerves, but it's just part of that community feel, you know.
Yeah.
And as far as the future, I'm, you know, like everybody else, I'm looking forward to the Extinction DLC and just to see what it's all about. But I just hope I hope this thing's polished. I hope it's not like Aberration and it comes out just a bunch of bugs, you know?
Yeah, maybe I think we'll add a little section about Extinction and what we think it's going to be like.
Yeah.
And Vixen, what about you? What's been the best feature about Ark or YouTube in general?
You
know,
I would actually say the same. It's the community, because for us, it's like building a family. Everybody from Discord, we play on the servers together, and like you said, I mean, we get to know them. You get to know them as a real person, and it's not just, you know, a character in a game. It's an actual real person that you see now as somebody that you look to as a friend and a family member, and somebody that you'll still talk to even if Ark was to go away. And that is probably the best thing about Ark in general, is the community does usually stick together. There are, you know, elements that are toxic, but overall you do build so many amazing friendships with people because of it.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so let's finish off, I guess, then, talking about Extinction. It's going to be the biggest point, you know, of the year, really, for Ark. What do you want Extinction to be, guys? What is the thing that you want it to be, and what don't you want it to be, and how hyped are you for it?
Well, one of the things I'm most excited about it is that my two favorite map developers, Jackson Lawrence and Excited Kangaroo, who did Ragnarok, which is my favorite map, were
working on it.
Were promoted to working on it. First, they were sponsored for Ragnarok. They feel like Ragnarok was cut a little bit short because they had to go work on Extinction, you know, and they have voiced regret for that. But at the same time, it's because their creative juices have been put into something else. So I think it's going to be an amazing map, especially with all the technical support they have now that they didn't have when they were building Ragnarok. You know, they did things with maps that nobody else did. I mean, they had dungeons with moving parts, right? Which seems simple, but no other Arkham app had that, right? It's all static. So, and everything is so handcrafted and carefully placed. And if there's a mountain, there's going to be a way to get to the top of it, and there's places to build, and it's just like, you know, with really nice aesthetics. It's just lovingly made. So, I mean, that's what I'm most excited about. I'm a little leery about the whole corrupted thing, you know, the mask that goes into your brain and whatever. I'm just like,
Yeah,
ew, that doesn't really appeal to me. Hopefully that's something you can avoid and not have to have, you know. And I'm not as excited about the tech, all the tech dinos and everything. You know, I like the living creatures and stuff, but I think it's going to be amazing. I think there's some innovative things in it. I like the gas balloon creatures to help carry your stuff along. We've wanted just like a cart or a wheelbarrow forever, and so, you know, the gas balloon thing seems pretty neat, and the devices that can hold a dino, those little cryopods or whatever, so you can kind of basically put them in your pocket. So I'm excited to see. I loved Aberration. I thought it, you know, it added a whole new feel to the game. Almost felt like I was playing another game in some ways. So, you know,
the Aberration, I really, out of any content I've played of Ark, Scorched Earth even, which I used to think was my worst map, but Aberration's my worst map. And that hurts because I love Evil Mr. Frank. Center map is my favourite map. And so he's the lead guy that made Aberration, and it just wasn't. I don't think it's necessarily his fault. What's there is pretty. What's there in Aberration is great. But man, they just needed more biomes. They needed some other stuff. It's very compact, Aberration, very small when you boil it down to where you can play and what you can do in it. And I wasn't overly impressed with the choice of creatures. It did feel like a lot of them just didn't have enough extra features, and I really want that to be changed in Extinction. Obviously we've got the big titans in Extinction. That's going to be pretty interesting, having these bosses being summoned that come to you, so a bit like the old school mechanics. Remember when the brood mother used to come to you on the island rather than you go to it? So it's not really even a new mechanic, it's an old mechanic they're implementing, but they're adding obviously new bosses. And I'm interested to see what Earth's going to be like after all this time, you know, how it's been shaped or changed and how big the map will be. I really do hope it's going to be something like the size of Ragnarok, although I do think Ragnarok's a bit too large. Somewhere in the middle, between Ragnarok size and, you know, a normal Ark Island size. That's where I want Extinction to be. I don't want to spend 6 years trying to walk across it. Or trying to get a dinosaur, although I don't like dinosaurs, so I do end up running everywhere. That's why my stats are always put in speed, because I just totally forget about the dinosaurs, which are the main focus of the game. But that's what I'm looking forward to more, is seeing what the map's like and seeing some creatures. I want robust creatures, I want lots of them. I'm not too keen on the corruption like you. I think the corruption's going to be a bit gimmicky, and it's just going to make PvE dinosaurs attack you, and I don't want that to happen. I want it to be a bit more complex than that, you know, have various states, and hopefully we won't contract it like the what do you call it, the swamp fever disease. Can you imagine if it's that bad or it goes wrong and everyone's got some corrupted disease and it just corrupts across all the servers in the space of a couple of days like it did with Scorched Earth? That shit was so funny. Everyone coughing their guts up every time you tried making a recording with people, and they just come along and just coughing into the character. That cracked me up. So yeah, I really do hope Extinction, I want it to blow my mind away. I do. But more importantly, I want it to work. As Bigworm said, I want it to work. Aberration had so many problems when it launched. It needed a massive, huge bug update fix. And for me, DLC shouldn't be that way. You know, they've got plenty of time to do it. They've delayed it. They delayed Aberration and it still came out broken. So I can't help but be still in a pessimistic mood about Extinction. It's filled me with more negatives about what it might not have or what kind of problems it's going to have than good points. But that's just me. I guess that's just a current reflection of how I feel about Ark at the moment. I'm just very much in a negative and I just can't seem to break out of that. How about you, Angelique?
I guess for me, I'm looking forward to just a new experience. You know, Aberration was a completely different experience in general. There were pros and cons to that actual experience. The thing that I'm kind of worried about is basically the corrupted, but also how techy is it going to be? Because I do miss the core concept of the game before the tech was, implemented and pushed out there, and it became like the priority for a lot of people. So I do hope that they implement some of that back into the game. With the Titans coming out, it is like the old part of the game where the brood mother would come to the, and you could actually fight her there, and that was really exciting. And so I feel like they did at least put that back into the game. And a lot of people that didn't experience that in the beginning, because they didn't play in the beginning, they don't realize just how exciting that actually was. It was a really exciting time. So, I mean, overall, I'm just excited for new content in general for both YouTube and just, as a gaming experience. But I am kind of worried about some of the components that I have seen come out already and just where the story is going. Because right now, the Explorer notes that they gave to us, they really don't give us any kind of picture that makes me overly optimistic anyway. But I'm just hoping for the best, and I hope that they actually spent a better portion of their time fixing the bugs, because the bugs in Aberration kind of destroyed it for a lot of people. They were just like, I don't want any part of this. I don't want to experience this anymore. I'm going back to the island, or I'm going to Ragnarok or the center where the game still makes sense.
just about. How about you, Bigworm?
Same kind of thing. You're always excited about a new map, a new world to play in, and I'm curious what the different biomes are going to be, what new mechanics they might bring as far as taming. Used to be before they got towards the end adding certain dinos, it was always just knock them out and feed them something. Then they started adding a little bit different mechanics, especially like with the, like taming the squid, whatever it's called. You gotta. You know what I mean? They added
with the black pearls.
Yeah, it was something different, and I want to see what they add, and hopefully they add some stuff. But like I said, more than anything, I just don't want it to be a buggy mess when it comes out. And
just
their track record is not great.
That's true.
No, in Ark we trust, but we don't really believe.
Right.
That's a big advantage of running your own servers. If something breaks, you can always fix it. You can always roll back if something terrible happens, which you can't do if you're playing on official or whatever. You're at the mercy of the game.
Yep.
So that would be a hard situation to be in. But if you actually have control yourself, it helps a lot dealing with the bugs.
Yeah.
Thank God for Nitrado. Plug, because Nitrado sponsored me.
Yep.
Oh my God. Before Nitrado came, and when you had to have a second Xbox as a server, and you couldn't roll back shit, and it was, oh my God. I remember the time some stupid admin.
We might as well have
broke it.
We might as well have had named our servers Extinction servers, like how they have on, because they were only good for about a month till they put out the next update, and then it was all wiped.
And I guess that's the last thing I'd say about like what Wildcard have done is we expected that stuff to go away. When they fully launched, you expected the problems not to be there as much.
Yep.
But it's still there. It's still there as bad as ever. There's still so many issues. And I really hope Wildcards have got more enthusiasm soon, and Extinction's going to prove me wrong and really show that they do care about the community. And I really hope whatever they're announcing, whether this Atlas is going to be a free mod, whether it's going to be a new game, or if they do revisit SOTF, something. I want them to give us something. Probably not going to happen now. It's getting a bit too late for them to launch anything. And judging by their media commitments, they weren't at PAX West. First time in 3 years they've not had a booth at PAX West. They weren't at Gamescom, and it doesn't look like they're going to be at TwitchCon much either. So it really does feel like Ark's winding down. I guess, where do you guys see after this last DLC? What do you think is going to happen? Are we going to see a season pass, or are we going to see a little bit of a break before we see an Ark 2? Or will it be Atlas?
I almost seem to think the way that they've kind of showed Atlas, that's going to be their next game. That's going to be a,
That's what I was thinking too.
I would love to see a Ark 2, but on the other side of that, what more could they would it be worth making an entirely new game? What more could they add to it to make that worth it, without changing a lot of stuff, the main setting and the, dinosaurs and
just no more dinosaurs. It's all just zebras and giraffes and tigers and lions and stuff. Like if they just call it modern day Ark. But I've got it on good authority from someone. Sources remain secret, that Atlas is going to be their next game, and it won't be coming out until after Extinction. But that's all I could drag from them. I'm paying the death. So we'll see how much of that is true. But yeah, I'll try everything. Bribery, blackmail, I'll do whatever to get a new story out of someone. But yeah, I don't really expect to see that launch until next summer at some point, and I certainly don't expect to see an Arc 2 for a good couple of years. I hope they don't. I really think they need time away, reflect on what they've done good, because they have done a lot of good. It's easy to bash wildcards, and I do it a lot, but I also do promote them a lot. And there is so much I've done in terms of promoting the stuff they've done with mods, bringing them to consoles, and the way they've took feedback on from community bases, not just PC but Xbox and PS4 as well. They definitely have done a lot of good things. So I really hope that we're going to see more of that from Wildcards and less of the crap and the bullshit that comes with them. They are literally like a clickbait YouTuber. Wildcards.
Yes.
It's flashy. It's let's tell you exactly what you think you want to hear. Let's entice you to come and look at my game, and then you click on it and it turns out it's there, but it's not all there, is it? Where's all the shit you promised?
Yeah, I mean, I could argue with that. I mean, I think there's a distinction between caring for the community and the capacity. Like, we love their game because they've done a lot of things right. I think they have really set the bar higher than it was before for survival games, and I'm looking forward to whether they take that bar higher next in an Arc 2 or whatever it is, or someone else does. But I think they also kind of overreached. They hit the limit of their own engine, and apparently when you start a game, right, you pick whatever version that engine it is at that point, and you're locked into that. So they're locked into the Unreal Engine from when they bought it back in 2015, right? And the engine may have improved since then, but they can't incorporate that into the game without enormous amounts of effort. So I think they tried to do something, so I don't fault them for their ambition, and I think the problems in it are mostly to do with ambition. If they could fix everything, I bet they would. I think there's a lot of things they just don't know how to fix at this point with the engine they have without going all the way back. And of course, monetarily, that doesn't really work out if you're trying to go forward and make profit, to go, wait a minute, we're not going to sell you anything else for a while we go back and fix things,
That's 7 Days to Die is in that state right now.
Yeah, or Hello Games, No Man's Sky, and they, to their credit, they did go back and they fixed it, and they haven't sold anything since, to fix it. And I hope that after Extinction, that Arc has a phase like that where they go, okay, we've got a good set of content. We've got, it's complete as is. Let's go back and let's address what we can with the engine that we have, and at least try to satisfy some of those issues before moving on. Because honestly, if Atlas is built on the same engine, I don't know if I want to get invested in that. I'm already invested in Arc and the servers and the building and the communities we've made, but but there's the rubber banding, there's the dinos glitching in each other, there's the snap points that won't hold still, all the things that you have to really love the game in order, and it's a credit to the game that we put up with that stuff. But at a certain point, it needs to be addressed. And that's what I'm hoping will come next, either addressing the existing games or addressing, that from the ground up with whatever does come next.
I think the recent news, that's why I was infuriated the last 2 weeks running. My Community Crunch review video has just ended up me being off my nut, having a moan, because it really just shows that they're not going to be doing that stuff. They're not going to be implementing S+, they're not going to be implementing TLC Stage 3, not doing a kibble rewrite. All that stuff's not coming until after Extinction, and it's just like, well, come on, you've got 40 people working for you now. You've got different companies porting these games over. Why can't you find someone to do or address some of these features? It can't, you've made millions, and they have made millions, despite the amount of equity they've had to pay back to Snail Games or whatever they're doing with that business. They have made millions out of the brand, and it did get too much from it, did, but they've had plenty of time now for me. That's what I just feel it is. I mean, I'm not a game developer, but just from the way everything's gone, I think they could do more.
If you pay your staff well, millions can go quickly. If you have 40 staff and you pay everybody $100,000 a year, that's $4 million right there.
Oh, 100 fat. You're optimistic.
You're very optimistic.
Yeah.
I will. I would hope. I mean, I live north of Silicon Valley, and the way that the house prices have gone here, they must be paying those tech folks something good. So I'm hoping that ARK is sharing that too.
You're gonna make the Wildcards employees all bang on Jeremy's door now, going, "Yeah, hey, I want a raise."
Yeah, they're fixing to go on strike.
Yeah,
you ain't that's maybe what happened. Maybe that's what happened.
I don't know what game developers get paid, but I do know from like running a business and things that things cost more than you think. So I'm not trying to excuse whatever, but I do know that what seems like a lot of money can go very quickly, if you're spending it. So
I think one disadvantage to this situation, though, is we all know it's coming out after Extinction, which means those fixes are not going to be in Extinction. And for a lot of people, that's disheartening because we know that is still going to be a problem for us no matter what. And that was kind of disappointing when I read those things. I was like, oh, no, because what improvements are going to be made on that map, what improvements are actually going to be, that we're going to get to experience when Extinction comes out, because clearly most of it's coming after. But how long after, and how long are we going to have to keep putting up with it? Because I mean, most of us have been around since nearly the very beginning, and we've been dealing with it this whole time. But the love of the game, like you mentioned, we put up with it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, in terms of go on, big one.
No, I was just going to say, and a lot of the things I think you're talking about, like adding S Plus or some of it to console, or just building mechanics that still don't work, that people are still dealing with. These aren't things that have just come up in the last month or two. I mean, this is stuff from the beginning that we're still dealing with, and it's that's the frustrating part, and that's the major frustrating part whenever they would do the promise and not come through thing, because all these things they've also already promised to have done before. And they just haven't happened yet. So
when Scorch first came out, I named my first episode on it Feel the Burn, which is a double entendre. I mean, one, you're feeling the burn, it's hot, right? But you're also feeling the burn of like, oh, you weren't working on all those things. Oh, but this is new candy. Okay, I'll play it.
Yeah, clickbait. It's clickbait. I'm telling you. Yeah. So me and Monkey had a little disagreement on Twitter about clickbait, and that's what made me want to get Monkey involved, because I love people that can give me a good argument and give me a good discussion. I can't stand it when people just don't have anything to back it up. So a big shout out to monkeypuzzle. Appreciate you coming on board, mate.
Sure, man.
Big shout out to Angelic Vixen. Thank you very much for coming on board. Hopefully your new content, if you're taking a look at Scum. How are you feeling about Scum? Before we go, actually, like, we'll have one quick round, like new content. Other than ARK, what are you looking forward to, or what are you playing at the moment that you're really enjoying? I see you playing Scum. I ain't gonna lie, I've gone totally off of Scum after playing it for about 5 hours. I would rather go and play DayZ on the Xbox.
Honestly, at first, Scum was really exciting because I was like, okay, this is, an actual survival game and, had interesting components. But as I played, and I played now several hours, it kind of just, I lost interest, because it's like, okay, I'm not really getting anywhere. I'm not really, I can make things, but what does that really entail? And I would never see anybody. Like, the server would be full because I played on official just to get that experience, and there would be no one. I was like, and so I was expecting that experience with a survival game of seeing other people, and it didn't happen. I saw robots, and I was like, well, they kind of lost me right at that moment. I was like, okay, well.
You need that interactivity with seeing actual people.
With a survival game, that's kind of important. That's kind of an important component, and I didn't have it. So I was like, well, I keep trying, but it's not really captivating me.
Is there anything else you got coming up that you're thinking, I'm definitely going to play that or put that on my channel?
Not right now. We're just going to go back to focusing on ARK and, like pro tips and things like that. So we're kind of just go back, be steady with ARK and see what happens. But no other games have really captivated me. And I mean, you recommended several when we were talking on Twitter. Yeah. So I might take a look at, some other ones. But even Conan, I lost interest almost immediately because I was like, well, it's cool and the graphics are cool, but it's not really.
Do you think it's burnout from ARK? I get this a lot with actually my subs saying that they just couldn't get enticed by Conan, and I put it down to burnout in survival.
It is. It's the grind. The grind gets so exhausting. You're just like, okay, how many games do I really want to grind at this point? How many hours do I really want to invest in another survival game?
I was pretty much the same. So when I've been trying to break away from Ark for the last, well, I've been trying to break away from Ark I've always done other content. I believe it or not, I have. Like I've had some success with 7 Days to Die and Subnautica, and some of them have got hundreds of thousands of views now. But the last 6 months, none of my videos in the top 10 have been Ark, really. Only Ark versus Conan. But other games that I've tried to break away from, I've tried breaking away from survival. And what's going on at the moment? The biggest games on my channel are all just survival games. It's like, for God damn it, let me just play something else. I just want to try something different.
They did the same thing. They did the same thing to me when I was playing. It was called Wormhole Wars, and now it's called Splitgate. But that's a really fun game, and I was having such a great time. And people were just so mean in the comments. They were like, "No, you are not allowed to leave Ark or survival games, period." I was like, okay, well.
I think that's the difference, though. Like, I just don't give a fuck. I was just like, oh, screw you guys. I'm off. I'm doing what I want.
Where the fun is.
Yeah, that's it. But I just, survival games still need to, they're enticing me. There's lots of survival games I want to play. What about you, Bigworm? What are you looking forward to?
I'm really wanting to get into Green Hell. I mean, I'm going to continue on Ark, but I mean, Green Hell is pretty hardcore. But the fact that it's a single player experience as of right now, I think the fact that it's so damn hard or so hardcore is why I'm gonna like it. It's gonna keep me, entertained, I think.
For sure.
What
about you, monkeypuzzle?
Well, the one that I have the most hope for to be my next sandbox, I don't know. It is Fallout 76. I want to see how that turns out, because I've never played any Fallout, but it's, doing a single player game on my channel didn't seem like really the way to go. It is a sandbox. It does have building. It is non-linear. So I wanted to check that out. But so now they're going to release the multiplayer version. And so that will be my intro to Fallout. And we'll see if that works. I mean, Bethesda's a pretty good company. Well, it should be pretty popular. We're going to at least check it out and see how it goes. In the meantime, I've been blowing off some steam playing No Man's Sky, which is also a pretty cool sandbox too. I mean, I can see there is a limit to, eventually you will get tired, but it's fun, and it's like, you don't get just an open world, you get like open universe, right? And, there's lots of critiques and stuff, but I think they've come pretty far. I like that you can terraform, which is a limit in Ark, that, the ground is just static. And in Minecraft, we used to be able to dig out and do whatever we wanted. Well, you still can if you play that. So that's been pretty cool. I've been, enjoying that and building and finding limits of it. But, I'm still waiting for what comes next. And, we don't know what's coming after Extinction. I'm not going to worry about it. I am going to check out Fallout 76, and I've always got my eye on the Steam pages. I'm an addict for looking, okay, what's coming next? What's the next survival game? Is it going to be the one that I turn to next? Because, like I said, I love Ark, and it has filled that for a good amount of time, and I'll always give them credit and props for that. But also, if something else comes out, I'd be willing to check it out.
Yeah, absolutely. There are so many survival games coming out next. In fact, I'm working on a video now called the survival games are hot again. Well, that's not the video title because that's a shit title, but it'll be something clickbaity when it comes out. But it's basically going to just entail like the fact that survival games are finally making more of a transition to console. We've got The Forest coming out on the PS4 in November. We've got Subnautica, obviously the brand new expansion that's been announced for next year, and that's going to be in early access very soon as well on PC. But that's going to come to Xbox and PS4 this November, I do believe, or December time too. And it just feels like a good time. If you love survival games, it is a good time to be alive. We've got brand new games like Dead Matter coming, a zombie style game that's coming in November and early next year. There's so many new stuff coming, and it's not just all junk. It really does look like a lot of it has been thought out, and it's going to offer something unique or do better. A bit like YouTube. People ask how to get your channel up and running or watch kind of content, and I always tell people, if you can't find something unique to do, just make sure your content's better, quicker, and funny. I think that's why I liked you guys, Lucky by Nature, because I saw some of your tutorials and I thought, bloody hell, they've done that in like half the time I did, or they've explained that much better than I did. And that's why I like people that do that. You can add unique stuff, which you have done as well, but adding doing better than what's around you, and I think that's important. Just a side job. And I think survival games have got the benefit of seeing what happened with Ark. They've seen what's happened with other games like, still in development, like 7 Days to Die, or even Rust that's only just come out recently. A big selection of different types, whether they're online games, whether they're more sandbox games. And I think game developers now are really going to have the best of seeing the mistakes that were made, and are really going to be able to use the new technology and get their technology out on platforms that they wouldn't have been able to, and it's all going to help them grow. More money rolls in, the more development they can give to the game, and just make great games. Fallout 76 is definitely my pick out of that lot. I'm really hyped for that one, and Red Dead Redemption. That's definitely going to be my most look forward to game this year. I want to say a big shout out, thank you to everyone that joined today. Obviously, all their links will be down below in the description. You go and check them out. Go and give them subscribe. Go and check out all the information. I'm going to put links out to monkeypuzzle's Patreon as well, and I'll also put any links that Lucky by Nature want as well, if they want to show off something to do with their servers, you want to join their servers, and obviously Bigworm's channel, go and give him a sub for sure, because he's definitely on the road to starting out and getting his channel more views. And yeah, thank you guys. Anything else?
It's a good conversation. I had fun talking with all y'all and talking about one of my favorite subjects.
Yeah,
Definitely. Thank you
this was
so
a good
much.
time. It was nice meeting y'all.
Nice
Like I
meeting
said,
you as well.
hopefully we'll do this again. Maybe we'll have something a bit more different to talk about. Maybe there'll be some news about Extinction coming soon. So maybe we can get back and talk about something like that along the lines again. So I'm Jay Plays Games. I will see you ratbags later. Don't forget to make sure you come join my Discord if you want to talk about anything today. And don't forget as well, patrons are going to get a chance to talk with me. We are doing a Patreon podcast very soon where we're just going to talk games. So look out for that soon. Until then, laters!
Hey!
Goodbye, goodbye, goodbye.
Bye.